Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Bob?
How does tantric energy help us in our inner work?
Well, tantric energy is transformation of the human to the spiritual. I've talked about this so many times. It's an energy that exists in the sexual area where the male-female principle in a human being, mates. That marriage transforms the human to the spiritual, and it begins to activate Kundalini. So, how does it help us in our work? It frees us from ourselves. It frees us from attachments, from anxiety, neurosis, all kinds of problems people have that get transformed there into a spiritual life. I mean, there's really no better helper than the energy that exists in the sexual area of a human being. A lot of people say you have to be celibate, you have to be this, and none of that is relevant. What you have to do is get strong enough and grounded enough to be able to draw energy through the sexual area to unify the male female principle in the sexual area. You have to have enormous inner strength to be able to do that. And that will transform all elements, well, not at once, but gradually it transforms all elements of our humanity, the good, the bad, the indifferent, the ugly, what we like, what we don't like, into energy that will activate the Kundalini. It purifies us. It purifies us. I mean, there's no diet that can purify a human being quicker than tantric energy, physically, mentally, emotionally, in every way. And it's a very important aspect of, I mean, look, they've been doing this, and I mean, when I used to go to Nepal, I would go to Pashupatinath. It was a really very sacred temple in Kathmandu, Shaivite temple. And I would have meditation. I have a picture of me sitting with four Nagababas in Pashupatinath, right over here on my right. And you know, the place was full of these sculptures of a Nandi, a bull, facing a lingam and a yoni in union with a cobra rising up, Kundalini force. And basically, years ago, I didn't understand what that was until I started doing this work. The Nandi is the chi, the power in a human being, our humanity, you know? And the lingam and the yoni is the union of the male female principle in the sexual area. And the cobra is Kundalini. It gives birth to the Kundalini, which rises up the spine to the crown chakra. That act, doing that in meditation, Understand? It's really one of the highest levels of inner work that a person can perform. You are ready to truly surrender everything to God. And of course, when you do that, even gradually over a period of years, your clarity gets better, your ability to make choices get better. There's less anxiety, there's less fear, there's less guilt. All these problems begin to dissolve. They begin to fall away. They're being transformed inside you. So your life can work better. I mean, I wrote a whole book about this called Tantra, for God's sake, sitting in my bookcase here. And I mean, it's one of the most important elements in spiritual practice. The transformation of the human to the divine takes place inside us, takes place in the sexual area. When two people really unconditionally love each other, the act of love does that. It will transform the human to the spiritual. If people have training, they need training. They need to be rooted and grounded and have strong chi, and hearts have to be open, and the mind has to be quiet. And the act of making love can do this. The act of meditation can do this. So you can be celibate and you can be not celibate, and this still can take place if you have training and know and learn how to do it. And all of that does a very simple thing. It clarifies and makes life. I mean, we begin to see the sacred nature of life, how much there is to learn in life, and how we sell ourselves short because we create all the blocks that keep us from truly learning what life has to teach us. I mean, honestly, I never heard Rudy talk about it in this way. I've heard him talk about it, you know, but the very exercise he created, this is where it leads. So Tantra is a very important element in the inner growth of a human being. And most books just relate it to sex. And, they talk about, say, male, female principles and sexuality and this and that. And you see pictures of, gurus and rinpoches with their consort, Shiva with his consort, Tibetan Buddhist deities with their consorts. Well, all of that is just a symbology for what takes place inside a human being when they have mastered Tantra. Not pornography. It really is a metaphor for the most extraordinary elements that exist in a human being. But it's something that honestly takes time, time. If you pick an apple on a tree before it's ripe, it's going to taste pretty bitter, sour. Human beings mostly are sour, They're not ripe yet. They haven't ripened, but they all want sex and this and that but they're not ripened inside. So it always leads into enormous amounts of problems. Been trying to find a publisher for my book. God bless them. All the crap they publish, and then you write something like this, and nobody's interested. I mean, you just can't understand it. It's just crazy, you know? Anyway, what to do? Does anyone else have a question? Tantra is one of the most profound and at the same time one of the most mysterious elements in all of spiritual evolution. And this meditation practice we do leads to the mastering of Tantra, gradual unfolding of consciousness inside, and really learning how to use that energy to transform the human to the spiritual. And it doesn't mean we become flaky and, holier than thou and all that stuff. It just means we, really means basically we can live here as happy people with joy and love in our hearts. Does anyone else have a question? I tell you something, I'm very tired and I need maybe to take a rest. I'll let you all know, but I might have to just take Sunday and Monday and not have classes. It gets to where you give yourself a spiritual hernia, doing this 7 days a week and 7 times a week. And it's been going on for 4 years now, And, I think I might have to take a few days and just chill. I mean, I see the classes are getting smaller and smaller. Maybe people are getting spiritual hernias. They can't do this as much as one really has to do it in order to get the fullest benefits from it. So we'll see. I'll let you all know. I'll see how Friday and Saturday go. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to? Okay, if there are no more questions, then hopefully I'll see you all. If not Sunday and Monday, then next Wednesday, but I'll let you all know. Okay, God bless you all. You have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Rest well. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good night.
Good night.